What is separate property when valuing marital assets? Imagine trying to split a big pie after a family gathering. Some slices belong to everyone, but others are just yours. In family law, understanding what belongs to whom is just as important. When couples divorce, courts need to figure out which assets are shared and which are personal. That's where the idea of separate property comes into play. Separate property is assets that belong only to one spouse and are not part of the division process. Think of assets you owned before getting married, like a car or a house, that you kept separate from marital funds. If you inherited money or received gifts just for you during the marriage, those are also considered separate property. Personal injury settlements awarded to one spouse are another example. Usually, anything acquired during the marriage is presumed to be marital or community property, which means both spouses own it equally. But if you want to claim something as separate property, you need to prove it. This often involves showing financial records, prenuptial agreements, or tracing the funds used to buy the asset. For example, if you owned a house before marriage and kept it separate, it remains your property as long as you did not mix marital funds with it. If you received an inheritance during the marriage and kept it in your name alone, it stays separate. The same goes for personal injury awards that compensate for personal harm, not lost wages or earning capacity. However, if you used marital funds to pay for home improvements or made payments on a property, part of that asset might be considered marital property. When separate property gets mixed with marital assets, courts have to analyze and sometimes bring in experts to determine what is what. They look at how the assets were managed and used during the marriage. Knowing what is separate property helps in valuing assets correctly. It ensures only the marital or community property is divided, protecting your personal assets. Keeping detailed records and documentation is key to proving what is yours. For example, if you owned a business before marriage, it might stay separate unless marital funds or efforts contributed to its growth. Prenuptial or postnuptial agreements can make this process easier by clearly stating which assets are separate. This helps prevent disputes and simplifies valuation. Courts aim to divide assets fairly, respecting each spouse's rights to their separate property. Understanding what counts as separate property is essential in family law. It helps ensure that each person's individual assets are protected during the division process. Proper classification can make a big difference in how assets are valued and divided when a marriage ends.